Hello everyone, this is my new energy update starting mid-October. Let's go back a little bit first to my last energy update, which was September 17th. You can find it on my YouTube channel. So in that video, I started to get some really intense and emotional feelings, if you remember, if you were watching it. So I was feeling bombs, explosions, so it was quite a not nice feeling. And then at the same time, there was also a feeling of a train derailment, which I mentioned. And these kind of sprung up out of nowhere. There were also the general 9/11 references, which I've been talking about for some time now. And I think if you're someone who follows that kind of thing, you'll understand what I mean. If not, don't worry. There's just, so much hidden meaning and connections in things. And one of these things is in numbers. And everything connects and has meaning in some way. So since then, I'm not someone who watches the news all the time, but I kept a rough eye out to see what was going on. So I'm going to run through, if you just be patient with me, I'm going to run through, I did some research to see what was going on in terms of, were there any bombs, explosions, train derailments since then. And there's actually been several, so let's go through it. Okay, so starting with the bombs or explosions, September 21st, there was a big blast in the Solomon Islands, where there were unfortunately 2 deaths, including an Australian bomb specialist who was killed. And it's very interesting because apart from some bombs and explosions that were happening, there were several events that were connected to World War II bombs that had been found or that had been unexploded, or there was just a few different articles, which I found was interesting. So there was a bit of both, and I just felt like it was such a big theme. So you can look all this up yourselves if you're interested. But anyway, October 3rd, there was a car bomb explosion at Nangarhar, Afghanistan. 15 unfortunately passed away and 30 were wounded. In fact, that just gets me. That one especially really got me. I just feel a bit really emotional with that one. Something to do with the 15 dead statistic just really stands out to me. Okay, on the 9th of October, there was an explosion at a school and the bomb squad came in. That's the Wolf-Written School in Willoughby. I don't know the locations of every place. I'm trying to do these in general order, but some of them might be out of order, because I started to write some notes and then it ended up being so many that my notes got really scattered and messy. So 5th of October, there was a car bomb in Afghanistan and 8 people were killed. 6th of October, 17 civilians were martyred. This one also gets to me. It's highly emotional and I'm really drawn to that number 17. If you recall, I've been telling you that I've been seeing the number 17 a lot. 17 has really been standing out to me. I feel this is one of the connections. When I see numbers, often it's for several different things, not just one thing. So I feel it has more meanings than this, but this is definitely one of them. So there was a truck bomb explosion in Aleppo, some kind of Turkish connection there. 10th October, Afghanistan, 5 were killed and 9 injured in a roadside bomb explosion. And on the 9th of October in Beirut, now this is outside of the big explosion that happened earlier in August, which was a big news event and a very unfortunate, Beirut being an important place in Lebanon. That was a massive incident. And I've actually just recently, because I was researching this, I came upon a documentary about that. It was really sad, the people who passed away, including a baby, just awful. But there was actually another bomb. And these are things like, they're not always on the news. It's just crazy. I don't watch the news all the time, but a lot of it's always about the local, because I'm in Melbourne, Victoria here, we're constantly hearing about the COVID, so I can't stand watching it. So my husband watches it more. So I know that if there's anything important, he'll fill me in. But, there's so much news that you don't hear about. So with this particular one, 9th of October, a diesel tank exploded. 4 people were killed in Beirut. There were some minor incidents as well, but nevertheless, still a bomb or an explosion. So October 10th, there was what articles were referring to as a pop bottle bomb explosion. And here's where I noticed the numbers were very noticeable for me intuitively in this one. It was on Highway 99. I was really drawn to 99. As I say it now, I feel a dark feeling, a dark, ominous feeling. And 9 plus 9 is 18, and then we reduce that down. 1 plus 8 is 9, so that's another 9. I did mention let's watch out for the 9s, the 11s. It's all in that video from September 17th. And that was on 236 Street in Southwest in the USA somewhere. So 236, you add that up, it equals 11. So that's 9 from Highway 99 and 236, 11. So that's 911 there. And the suspect was a 33-year-old. 33, that's just another number that they use. So let's move on from that. Look, and I'm sorry, I'm going to go through all of these. It might take longer than what I would like, but I just feel that that's important to do, and then we'll move on from there. So then on October the 11th, so there we have an 11 day. There was actually two different scenarios in two different parts of the world. So one was a gas explosion in Iran, 3 dead and 6 injured. And then in Lord Howe Island, which is in Australia, there was this is one of those cases of an unexploded bomb that was found. So another one. So there was actually 2 or 3, or I don't know, I can't remember if there was more of these, World War II bombs that have been found or something like that, which was really interesting. One of which exploded, one was unexploded, I think. Sometimes, these days articles are terrible. Have you noticed that? There is terrible information on articles. Firstly, a lot of the time, they don't date the event. So the date of the article doesn't mean that's the date of the event. So sorry if I'm wrong about anything, but I did try to double check everything. So it should be mostly correct, if not all of it. But I just noticed that. So it's really frustrating. If you're reading something and they said, a bomb happened, they're not saying like when, what day. I have to double, triple research. And they don't give you much information. It's actually quite bad. But anyway, so then we have October 12th in a place called Gilroy. There was an explosion where the bomb squad also attended. Don't know anything more about that. October 14th, this is another one, a massive unexploded bomb, a World War II bomb. You might have found out about this one, in Poland exploded. So it made quite a bit of an explosion, and they dubbed this kind of bomb an earthquake bomb. When I saw that they called it an earthquake bomb, it really alerted me, because something that I keep forgetting to mention is when I did a talk in late July, I recorded a talk for a summit about, and my talk was on 11/11. Some of you watched it, but not all of you. I did mention the host asked me about, what I was feeling for just the very end of this year, the last few months. I did mention something that I was feeling was earthquakes. So I said that could be very metaphorical, like the rumbling land with everybody, being grizzled and it being very sort of earthquake energy type, but also it was quite literal as well. So just wanted to do a reminder about that. And so when I saw the term earthquake bomb, so everything kind of connects, right? It's just words stick out, like numbers stick out, and you get a feeling and then you draw the lines. It's just like, for example, the Wolferton school explosion. I don't know anything more about that one, but wolf really stood out in that. I really felt wolf, because wolf has been a bit of a sign for me. I go through these periods where a certain word will pop out. Wolf has been a sign for a while. And also because when I was before that, literally 5 minutes before I saw that one, somewhere, I'd looked at all these articles, so it all got a bit blurred in my mind, but somewhere there was a reference and I saw the word wolf. And I was like, I wish I had that now, because I could draw the link to that one. So it's like dots that connect. Okay, so now moving on to the trains. September 14th. So this is actually prior to September 17th, but I did not know this at the time. But there was actually a train derailment. So 3 days before I did the recording, near a place called Hope in British Columbia, where 60 of the cars derailed. However, after September 17th, there were several other train events. So on the 20th, in Manhattan, there was a derailment. I don't think it was anything serious at the subway station. I think there was some kind of weird incident with an individual. But that did stick out as well as an odd event. And then October 11th, there were actually, and this is interesting, I've seen two completely different articles on two completely different pages. There were actually two train incidences and two completely different derailments or crashes in different areas. So these are both October 11th. Notice the date 11. So, I mean, I've already talked about there was two different bomb situations on October 11th. Now there's two different train situations. So it really, really stands out, okay? So one of them was referred to on the news as a major train derailment where 58 cars derailed, and that was in Lilburn, Georgia. Interestingly, that involved some hazardous materials. So there was a fire with that one, like a fire explosion, something like that. Then also October 11th in Thailand, there was a really unfortunate incident, and this is one that I really felt as well. And a bus collided with a train, so major accident killing 18 people. When we look at the number 8, and you know, that's okay, we're not drawing at straws here, but that does add to 9. So unfortunately, those people too, they were on their way to a Buddhist temple, so I thought that was extra sad and definitely something that stood out. And then, so I still get those really sad feelings about those things. So interestingly, if you remember that 17th September video also, I said that the train derailment could also represent some kind of anniversary. That really seemed like an odd thing to say. I even thought to myself, that's an odd thing to say. But anyway, you know, I go with what comes out. You know, I go with whatever is coming up, even if it sounds odd. So interestingly, when I was looking up the train derailments, I came up with this article. And it said, the article's dated 16th of October of this year, and it said there was an FBI investigation of an old mystery of an Amtrak train derailment that was on October the 9th, notice the 9, in 1995. So more than 2 decades ago. And that train derailment had been in rural Arizona, which is, you know, a bit of a mystery area. And the train driver had died, and many of the people had since had severe PTSD from the event. The FBI said that this was 6 months after the Oklahoma bombing as well. So there, that word bombing just really stood out. I want to say stood out like dog's balls. And I really get a feeling about that again. So I don't know. There could be more, okay, or other links. This is where we could start to get into those terror event things, which reminds me of something else that I will mention. But the FBI were offering a reward of $310,000, so it seemed really important, and it was just really interesting that suddenly they were coming out with this. Also, when I mentioned the Thailand derailment, that one I actually did see on the news. I was just relaxing watching the news for about 5-10 minutes around that time, and I saw the number 17, just I don't know what on an ad or something, and then I instantly got that, 17, there's that sign, it means something. And then immediately after, the news said there was a Thailand train accident, and then I got like the shudders straight away. So it was all connected as well. Okay, so just something else I'll add there is that recently my husband and I have started to watch the Game of Thrones, which I know like everyone has already seen. We're like the last people on earth to see it. But anyway, we're going through it. And I was just saying to my husband a couple of days ago, or a day ago, you know, there's so much decapitation in that movie. It's just because it's so, bloody and gory. And I remember thinking to myself how that used to happen in the old days, and so much at various times, and I remember thinking, does that really go on today? And normally you would think, no, that doesn't go on. But I remember thinking, and this was just a day ago, no, I do think that it actually still goes on, and that was that. And then today on the news, I found out there was a terror event in Paris, and unfortunately, a person was decapitated. So let's see what happens in the next while. There's definitely going to be new events, more events. This is ongoing. There's definitely a feeling of oppression in the air. And there's just been this weirdness. There's been this feeling of like it's just so strange. It's just so weird. And actually, I've been starting to have a few people mention that. And we have to keep in mind there's so much going on. The amp up to the US elections is so huge. It is the hugest that it ever has been, or arguably, okay, I can't argue about past history. It is not my forte, but, it's beyond normal. This is a very significant year. Sometime earlier in the year, I did refer to this whole COVID thing as being, it's all a war. It is a war. And, I don't think everybody sees that. And it's the strangest thing because, and I've thought a lot about this. There have been so many wars in history. However, when there were wars, you knew it was a war, okay? And this is where things get really interesting. There has been this invisible warfare. And really, in truth, this invisible warfare has been for quite a long time. It's been for eons, right? But it's ramped up with the COVID situation. There are so many things going on. People are completely frazzled, discombobulated. They're not feeling themselves. They're not centered. They're on edge. There's that great feeling of the unknown. There's extreme agitation. When it comes to politics, there's never been such a bigger divide. And it's really palpable. And so we're all feeling that. But beneath that, because that is just surface stuff, but it is surface stuff that is so intense that it can overtake and feel like that's everything. But there's stuff beneath that. And then the stuff beneath that, there's more stuff beneath that. So you have to look further, deeper. There is so much going on and not everything is as it seems. When you start to see that, you will notice it more and more and more. Okay, when you watch the news, you'll think, oh my God, it is just the biggest farce. It is the biggest BS. Honestly, it is just when you see it, you really see it. It's just like not knowing for a long time that someone's a narcissist or a liar, and then you can't believe it when you find out, and then your whole reality gets like completely turned upside down. But then you start to see it, you start to draw the dots. Oh yeah, the time they this and that time when they that, and you're like, oh yeah, what a big liar they were. And then it's like now when you go to see them, you can see the lies every time, right? Imagine that on a grand, massive world scale. Everywhere, everything, almost. Maybe not that much, but you get the idea. So, you start to see it. You see it on the news. You see it with individuals, well-known people. You put the pieces together, okay? And not everything is adding up when you take what is said in the public forums, in the mainstream media. It doesn't all make sense. In fact, it's all ridiculous. It is all so ridiculous. When I say that, it's never in vein of people going through real situations or real illnesses or deaths. It's beside that. There's something much more going on. And it's one big grand illusion. Okay, so really, if you've been on this path of spiritual journey and awakening, and it's like you go through these amazing experiences and then you're like, oh wow, and then you start to find out the stuff, the good and the bad and the ugly. And then when it comes to the ugly stuff, you're like, oh yeah, that's really bad. That's probably true. Like for example, the Illuminati. And then, but it's saying you get on with your life. You're like, it doesn't affect me, or yeah, whatever. I'm not sure I believe it or whatever, right? Well, it's in your face right now. It couldn't ever be more in your face. If this has not woken you up, nothing will. And I'm not speaking to you directly. I don't mean to be derogatory. I'm just talking about people in general, the world, okay? This is like, if you don't see it, world, oh my God, like nothing will wake you up, okay? It's like a person who's sleeping so soundly They would not wake up if there was an earthquake or a fire in the house, right? That's what it's like. So those of us who have been awakening or that get it, or, you know, we don't know everything, but the pieces that we do get, or the feelings that we feel, you know, and we're looked at like we're the weird ones, we're the psychos, you know, a lot of us are really feeling this for a really long time. So, you know, it ain't easy, right? But, you know, it's all here. And on one hand, it's a slap in the face, and in the other, it's a gift, okay? And we're to see it as a gift. And as I say that now, the angels rise us up. So what I've been learning, and one of the things that I've been receiving in recent times is, and I might have mentioned it a few times over the last several months, they've really brought it through. My angels have brought it through in readings, which is we need to go down so that we can go up, okay? So now they're saying rise up, up, up. Now we're going to rise up. We're going to rise our vibration up. Okay, beautiful. Just starting to do that more. Let's just clear some energy out. So it might feel, take some breaths, relax. If you'd like to feel some relief, mental, emotional, energetic, it's all mixed up and intertwined, physical. Just what the angels are showing me now is I'm pulling energy, like it's almost out of you, like lifting you up and pulling energy from down, up, out of your head and just out. Like lifting it up and away. Okay, we're going to get lighter and lighter, adding extra energy, tingles. Okay, just doing a bit to raise vibration and the calm. Beautiful. All right, let's hold in that space for a while. And now when we consider what's happening, right now you might be in a greater state of peace, or you might need more time. You might need to come back to this. Depends what's going on, right? Let's imagine just things being peeled away from you. When we're imagining, it's happening because I'm supporting you energetically by doing so. Let's release anything that needs to come off, like cobwebs, like cloaks going off you, layers of cloaks. Okay. All right, so energetically, so just sit in that presence for a while and just hear through that at the moment. In fact, I think it's today. Oh, I just looked at, I just realized something. I had no idea because I've been busy working, but I just saw the date and it's the 17th. So there you go, the 17th of October. The 17th again, and my last video was, well, not my last video, but my last update was 17th of September, and I keep talking about 17. That just made me smile and uplifted me, and the time is 7:47. Okay, so we've got the double sevens there as well. Beautiful. Okay, so let's just talk about this energy at the moment. So at the moment, we just had, so the 16th of October is new moon in Libra, and it's the second super moon, okay, in a row. I mentioned in another video, there's 3 in a row. One was last month. Now we've got this one. There'll be one more next month, okay? And so the people who have been feeling the intensity, okay, it's connected to a lot of things. So firstly, I started talking about politics and all that collective energy and all of that. Okay, let's just peel that away again now. And there's also that, because I did mention the supermoons, they're right up in your face. Okay, so that's when you start to feel like you're a bit insane or irritated or whatever. But also, we've just started on the 13th. Mercury has started its course retrograde, and it's in Scorpio. And, you know, and it's funny, I went to briefly look up a note about that I'd written ages ago about Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, and I had to laugh. I'm going to tell you exactly as I worded it. It's bloody intensely tense, okay? So there you go. So hopefully that will explain it for some people. But also there's that sense of passion, that some of you might be feeling this fiery passion underneath everything, but you're irritated. So it's like having energy that can't be expelled. So men would know about that. And there's also a sense of being secretive, but it just feels like right now there's so many secrets in the universe, so many secrets going on, so many underhanded things. You know, there's this big game being played. This whole thing between Trump and Biden and all the rest of them, This is all a game. It's one big game being played, okay? And it's best to be an observer. Stand back, observe. Don't absorb. Don't be right in there, because you will get lost and drowned in the whole thing, and it's only going to get worse, okay? But also this period is about regrouping and catching up with the thoughts and feelings you've been processing or that have been happening. There's, it's your emotions overrule. So that's why it's important to peel back those layers as well. The other thing that I did mention in that last video was I had a bit of concern about the full moon on October 31st, which is Halloween. And what is interesting also is there was a full moon also on October 1st, which is known as a harvest moon. I was really drawn to that word harvest. And so that means there's 2 moons in October, which is a rare event, which is why they call it a blue moon, which is why we have that saying, once in a blue moon, when 2 moons occur in 1 month. So October 31st, I get all sorts of vibes about that. So one of the things is, I just briefly added up the numbers. It actually does add up to 9 that date. But outside of that, it's just the fact that it's Halloween, and if you know anything about the dark occult, to them, that's like going off on that night. So I'd be concerned about that, and things that we don't necessarily know or hear about, rituals that are done and that kind of thing. So I would say, if you're a person who, what can I do to help? How can I help the world? I feel like I can't do anything. Pray, add light. And I would say direct your energies, not just for the next while and over the election period and all that stuff, but for that date as well, particularly, and the 3 days around it. It is just really huge and rife, and very terrible things happen. So I'm not going to talk about that any longer, but if you'd like to do something, focus on that and start now and hold your light and continue it. But as I said, it's also the period around it, so November 1st, 2nd, that kind of thing, before and after. Okay, so you might have noticed that you've had periods of feeling extra tired, physically unwell, heavy, just all sorts of feelings like that. It's all part and parcel of the energies. You might have also experienced weird, unusual, or dreams, just busy processing dreams as well. Spiritual dreams, hidden dreams. I did have a dream that President Trump died, but it wasn't a full-on dream. It was just like, I remember just being like surprised, and then and someone telling me, and having these other thoughts about what the hell is going to be happening now in the world. And so I will share that. Probably about a couple of months ago, I had a dream about Britney Spears, and I've been finding out that she's sort of going through a lot of troubles. So in my dreams, she reached out to me, and she was really like needed help. She really wanted a reading. She was like sort of desperate. That's the energy I really picked up. It definitely felt like a very spiritual, meaningful dream. Often people that do this work, they do have people, come to them in their dreams and so on. And then so I went to go to her place, but then her lounge turned into a boardroom. And I remember thinking, she's so busy. She's just like doing so much. Like, she's brought me all the way here to do a reading, but she's like completely ignoring me because she's so busy. And I started to get a bit annoyed. And then that boardroom turned into a funeral, and I was there at a funeral. So that was quite symbolic also. So that whole idea of the death dream with Trump and the funeral dream, death can, if not literal, obviously, can really represent change as well, outside of all the other meanings and so many nuances. And for example, with Britney Spears, all the stuff she's going through, and my daughter was telling me about it. So since then, I looked her up on Instagram, and yeah, it's really quite sad, the situation. So I really do believe something more is going on there. So let's just send our love and prayers, okay? So outside of that, death represents, just like if it was the tarot card, it can represent change, transformation as well. The end of an old era, the starting of the new. And just as I said that, I thought to myself, I should pull out some cards. So the first card that came out was the Crumbling. It is literally a picture of two towers, okay? It's the Tower card, and in this particular card, it's two towers, which represents the two towers, the twin towers. There you go, 9/11 again. Really, it's a symbol of 9/11, okay? It's not 9/11 on the card, but that's what I see through it. And also, I take two towers as symbolizing the 11, two vertical standing ones together. But there's lightning at the top, okay? It's showing me, I'm getting all sorts of feelings from the lightning. I literally just felt like a bolt of lightning run through me. I'm taking that right now as unfortunately that it's that Luciferian thing, okay? Their symbol sometimes is the lightning, and it's that symbol of the top of the pyramid, that the capstone, that you see in the symbology. There is, so much going on. There's a war of the worlds, and there's a lot of lightning around it, a lot of storm. It's about the storm. Storm's another word. It's a key word, storm. So storm, picking up on that, that's become a word, and the lightning bolts. Okay, so beyond that though, what I see, and it's just so beautiful, is a beautiful vista of a fresh horizon. Beautiful, beautiful vista. So that means there's hope and there's light. We've got to get through these stormy days, this Armageddon, okay, this, whatever you want to call it. This change, the can't say it, apocalyptic, changing from one epoch to another. We're right there. We're almost about to stand in the doorway of the doorway of change. This is epic, an epic epoch. They're joking. The angels are funny. They always joke around with words. Okay, an epic epoch. Try saying apocalyptic on top of that. So it's, it's all of the above, okay? So they're showing me, it's like there's these weeds, and we're standing in these weeds, and this decaying but strong building is standing, and we're about to enter the threshold, but we've got to go through the storm. And there will be storm. The storm is a big keyword here, and the lightning, and I just said the word sacrifice, all these things happening. Okay, darkness, terrible events / difficulties, and the chaos in the world, the uprising, the roaring, the civil unrest, all the rest of it. And then there's a sunny dawn and a new horizon ahead with fresh flowers. So those weeds at the front turn into this beautiful vista of sun and flowers that are blooming. And they're offering a new hope. So again, thank you, angels. They come through with that message. And I also see now, I just got shivers. I wish you could just feel what I'm feeling right now. Got a shiver just run through me, a beautiful shiver. And that was the realization that the shape formed between the two buildings, standing as like two ones, but then joined at the top with a lightning bolt. That shape, it kind of looks like a temple, or a cathedral, just like like the top of a cathedral, but it's not. So, what I'm hearing right now is it's down with the religion, it's down with the icon, it's down with the old institutions, and this is more of a temple, walking into a temple. This feels really emotional, but more like happy cry kind of feeling. Walking into the new temple of a new dawn, okay? And where there is renewal and new ways of doing things, and I see the earth is being renewed, and like greenery and beautiful flowing rivers with fresher water and all that kind of thing. Okay, but it's gonna be, you're gonna feel it. Okay, they're also showing me it's like walking through past two poles, but right in the middle of two poles which are electrically pulsating. And as you walk through them, you feel the vibe, like waves of electricity, but you got to get through it, okay? There's a crumbling, decaying of the old. So this includes the old institutions, everything, and we're awakening, we're arising. There will be energetic upgrades, shifts happening, but they show me it's like to and fro between, like, it's sort of just like, and it's like an obstacle course. They're just showing me now. And this would make sense because everything has been rather difficult and strange, right? Nothing is the same this year. It is also different. And it's like, it's surreal, okay? So what they're showing me now is it's like an energetic golf course, but they're actually saying like obstacle course. And you got to go through one hoop, then you got to dance through hoops and go through this tunnel and out the other end. And it's like, and it can leave you feeling topsy-turvy. But also, so there's good and the bad, okay? There will be shifts happening, but then there'll be really intense and dark periods too. We've got to go down to go up, remember, okay? But we're all awakening at the end of the day. And if you think of the symbol of the triangle pointed the right way, okay, where the pointer's up, then we're rising up, okay? And we're narrowing in. The triangle goes from a wide platform on the ground and it narrows into the top. And they're showing me that's like you in your life chain and all your lifetimes narrowing in to God, to create a source energy, whatever you like to refer that to as, and coming back to source, but you're narrowing in, okay? You're honing on in and eventually, we'll be going home. But the idea, that's what the spiritual ascension is about. So the angels are just adding in, take time to rest, take care of yourself, okay? We're all worn out, okay? So if you're feeling worn out, internally, externally, emotionally, mentally drained, physically, spiritually, whatever, shake off the cobwebs, go out for walks, take care of yourself and do things, take those baths, things like that. Also, schooling and study, it's about learning, that can be a greater message of learning, esoteric knowledge, researching, look into things, learn something new, develop your skill set area also for work or interest. And, you are your own leader. If you're on this path of awakening, which you are just by the very nature of watching this video, okay, a torch is being lit and take that torch, find that torch within you. You don't need to take my torch or someone else's, for you have your own torch. Find that torch, hold it up, and move up the stairway, okay? Up, narrowing into the top of that triangle. And, you are here for a reason and a purpose. No matter how small or large that you think that might be, or, how stressful or unknown that may seem, just trust in it, trust in who you are, trust in the thoughts you get, the dreams you have, and even though things might feel like they're on hold, at bay, they are only, the angels are showing me, it's just like now during COVID where some deliveries are taking some time and there's delays to get deliveries. They're just put on hold. They're just at the shipping bay, at the dock. Okay, however, the fish will swim again. The new ships will come in, the new containers, and it will get chugging along. But there needs to be an overhaul, and we need to get through this period. It's not going to be easy. The next several months, moving even into early next year. Okay, so we're going to take one step at a time. All right, so I think that's enough for now. Love you lots. I just saw the number 3737 that gleamed out at me. Sending you so much love, bit of energy now at the end. Let's just lift this up. Right then, my son just knocked on the door, even though the sign says recording, do not enter. Oh God. Welcome to our COVID world where your kids just, you can't escape them. Okay, so let's lift up the energy. See, we're all experiencing this, right? Okay. Let's just clear out anything that needs to go. Release, 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 release. Uplifting. Beautiful. Lifting up your spirits. Coming back to you. Being in that state of calm. Center. Back to you.